Good morning, everyone. On behalf of COVID Action Collab and NAFCO, I welcome you all to today's webinar on credit access and readiness of FPOs, ecosystem availability and challenges. The farmers are supposed to flourish in productivity, get enhanced income, and get accessibility to credit as and when required. All this has been seen as a doable approach through the collectivization of farmers into farmer producer organizations. However, amongst all, the hardest to tackle is still the credit market. Even though many government provisions through NABARD and SFAC are present, along with other private entities, still the market for credit is untapped by the FPOs. To have more clarity on this, let us look into a few numbers. As per recent studies, today there are 9,521 FPOs in India, of which only 5% have accessed credit from financial institutions in the past. If we look at the agencies who have lent to those 500 FPOs, it is 79 different financial institutions. This means that supply of financial linkages is getting bigger for the FPOs. Now, if we look at the credit potential of FPOs, the average credit requirement of 90% of the FPOs would be around 10 lakhs. The remaining 10% would require 50 lakhs to 2 crore. Detailed data is given on the screen. Thus, the estimated credit requirement for FPOs as on date can be summed up to around rupees 1700 crores. Having said this, we need to understand the capacity of FPOs to receive credit as well. As part of our efforts under COVID Action Collab, we have tried to connect several FPOs with funding agencies. However, there were several times the FPOs were not able to receive the credit because they were not having the capacity for the same. We realized that there is a huge knowledge gap regarding the credit facilities available, as well as on how to access the credit. This needs to be addressed. Today, CAC and NAFCO are organizing this webinar as a first step toward the same. COVID Action Collab, CAC, is a pan-India multidisciplinary collaborative aimed at supporting the most vulnerable communities impacted by COVID-19. Today, we work with 350 plus partner organizations across the country, covering 13 different vulnerable populations, farmers being a major part of it. National Association for Farmer Producer Organizations, NAFPO, is a civil society initiative to create partnerships and develop an enabling ecosystem to facilitate the emergence of robust FPOs with the integration of multiple stakeholders. NAFPO is currently associated with 1,500 FPOs in the country. Before going ahead, we would like to inform you that the session will be recorded for future references and learning purpose. Also, during the discussion, please post your questions in the Q&A tab available at the bottom of your screen. The questions will be taken up at the Q&A session towards the end of the discussion. With that, I would like to introduce Mr. Balakrishnan Subramanian, who will be moderating today's session. Bala is a CEO of Prithvi, having more than 20 years of experience in creating wealth and building resilience for marginalized and vulnerable communities, such as farmers, women, fisherfolk, micro and nano entrepreneurs, through livelihood transformation models. He has experience in building models for scale like the threefold program, under which more than 30 FPOs have been formed and are being supported across the country. Welcome, Bala, and I would like to hand over the session to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sandra. And thank you for all the panelists being here today, and also all the participants from across country, from various organizations and the producer organization. And I think today, which is happening because my team behind this program, which is Sandra and Shruti, Kanika, Nikhila, and other team members, Florencia, and all of them actually supported to at this stage we are handling, and then also Anisha and team which has supported to be having this webinar today. I would like to give some more insight, which I think Sandra has actually told that from various studies, how the farmers producer organizations have been unable to access the credit because of various reasons. But in India, I think past now more than a decade, the farmers producer organization has become mantra in the country, which is, and every state government and then central government is actually looking at how do we make farmers triple or double their income. That's what the government is been pushing for, and how it can actually, the dream can become true. That's where the journey through farmers producer organization, it can actually happen. That's where if you see it about Many recently now, it's about 10,000 farmers producer organization in next 5 years. That's a roadmap which Government of India has actually set up along with NCDC and the NABARD. Having said that, I think to this dream to realize, I think very important aspect we have seen on the ground, and the financing is one of the important aspects for the FPOs to survive and thrive and to realize the benefits for the members. Yeah. In that, when we see that, I think without financing, without finance, they may not be able to do any business because, as you know, their capital, the equity is very, very low. Very few organizations have capitals of about more than 10 lakhs. Most of them have less than 10 lakhs capital. Then in that case, if they have to do a business, then they need credit for their bulk buying of inputs, and then also buying producers from the member farmers and selling it to the various markets. In this context, but many players in the ecosystem putting a lot of efforts, which is banks, and then many financial institutes, NBFCs, non-banking financial companies, and small farmers agribusiness consortium, which is also set up, credit guarantee mechanism and equity grant. These are all the mechanism, and the other players also like Rabobank. They're all trying to bring in some kind of guarantee mechanism, how we can actually help this producer collective to access finance. But still, this become, as we saw the number, which is Sandra was presenting it, only 5% of the producer collectives are accessed so far the financing. But large number of FPOs they are not able to do because their own capabilities and their own knowledge related to, and then how they can become credit-ready organizations to access the finance. And at the other side, the banks and financial institute also have some kind of risk awareness towards agriculture. We have seen in the past, and there is also there is a gap in terms of knowledge between the producer organization and the banks. How do we look at this webinar can actually provide bridging these gaps, some information which can actually flow back to various institutions who is participating today. Can we learn from this? What are the challenges? What are the ways in which we can actually access credit from various financial institutes? I think we have wonderful panelists today for today's webinar. We are trying to look at overall today's webinar. What are the kind of opportunities available for FPOs to access finance from various banks, financial institute? That's what we are looking at it. And when we look at not only the opportunities, we are also looking at it because many of the times the producer organization doesn't know how much credit they need, for what purpose, and they're not able to also arrive at their own needs. I think we are also trying to understand from the financial institute and the banks here today, we wanted to understand how they can actually arrive at their own credit needs. And also, what are the kind of various products for various needs which can be given to these producer collective, and then they'll be able to access, and they can actually thrive and grow and continuously offer various services to their members. We want to also understand where, that's why we also have from Madhya Bharat, Mr. Yogesh, who can bring in how they could be able to access, or what are the challenges also they have been facing accessing credit. It will also throw some insights, and we can have some discussion around that, how panel can also throw some insights to how these challenges can be overcome by the producer collective. I would like to welcome for today's panel Mr. S.S. Bhatt, Chief Executive Officer of Women-Owned Banking India, based out of Ahmedabad. So our hearty welcome to you. And we have Mr. Sridhar Easwaran, who is Senior Vice President for FPOs from Samunati Financial Services. He's based out of Bangalore, but their corporate office is based out of Chennai. Mr. N. Suresh, who is Executive Vice President, Agribusiness Group, Kotak Mahindra Bank. He's based out of Hyderabad. We welcome you, Mr. Suresh and Sridhar, for today's webinar, and we are really looking forward to hear from you. And we also welcome Mr. Seba Madam, who's Vice President of NAFKISAN Finance Limited. She is based out of Chennai, and we heartily welcome from COVID Action Collab and NAFCO for this webinar, Madam. We are really looking forward. I think one of the organizations you have been giving across country the loans to various producer organizations. We look forward to your insights and the challenges you are facing while lending to the producer organization. And I hope Yogesh has joined. Yeah, we welcome Mr. Yogesh. I think one of the Federation of FPOs has been remarkable work he's doing it in based out of Madhya Pradesh. And we really are thankful, Yogesh ji, joining today with us. And then we look forward to your insights, how you are able to access, or your member producer organization able to access credit, and what are the challenges or what you feel some of the gaps you see in accessing credit. We look forward to have your insights and also the suggestions from your side. And again, I thank all of you taking out your precious time, and some of you may be having holiday, but I think most of our panelists are financial institute. I think March is becoming year end. I think everybody is busy in crunching numbers and achieving the targets. And in this time, I think you all taken out your time and joining for this webinar. We're really thankful to all of you. I would like to maybe start the discussion further now, moving on to the panel discussion. I would like to have Seba Madam and also Bhatt. I have a few questions to both of you. I start with Seba Madam. I would like to kind of share what are the kind of credit opportunities available for the producer organization in the country, if you can throw some insights. And also if you can share what are the kind of products which NAFKISAN actually offering to the producer organization. Yeah, it will be great to listen from you. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you, Balakrishnan sir. So good morning all. So first and foremost, I would like to express my sincere thanks to my Managing Director and CEO, Madam Sushila Chintala, and Dr. K.S. Mahesh, Chief Financial Officer, NAFKISAN, for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this webinar today. I also express my best wishes to the organizers, Balakrishnan sir from Vritti, Sandra, COVID Action Collaborative, and all representatives from NAFCO for hosting this webinar. I'm also eagerly looking forward to listen to my co-panelists. So today I'm here to brief on what are the available credit opportunities for FPOs in the country, and how NAFKISAN is offering different loan products to suit the varied requirements of FPOs. So we all know that the economic performance of India largely depends upon the performance of the agriculture sector. So despite the pandemic, amidst all the economic gloom, our agriculture sector had shown tremendous resilience and has performed exceptionally well, registering growth of almost 3.6% during the last year, and which has also improved to 3.9% during the current fiscal. So in India, almost 126 million small and marginal farms are operating on 74 million hectares of agricultural land. So the average size of holding is just around 0.58 hectares. So this fragmented land holdings has led to low marketable surplus, inability to access quality inputs, lack of credit facility, etc., resulting in high dependence of farmers on the exploitative intermediaries. So agricultural resurgence in the post-COVID era is possible only through FPOs. So if we see the ecosystem for FPOs, the credit opportunities presently in the country, they are offered by both banks and NBFCs, as pointed out by Balakrishnan sir. And over the years, NABARD has emerged as a leader in promotion and nurturing of FPOs, and has created a very enabling ecosystem for sustainability of FPOs. Going by the numbers which Sandra was presenting, almost more than 9,000 plus FPOs are there in the country today, and out of that, more than 5,000 FPOs have been promoted by NABARD. So there is a need to make provision for institutional credit available at a very reasonable interest rate to FPOs. That is why NABARD formed its own subsidiary, NAPKISAN Finance Limited, to cater to the varied credit requirements of FPOs in the country. So over the past 6 years, NAPKISAN Finance Limited has emerged as a leader in financing the producer collectives, and as on date, we have supported and lent to more than 1,400 FPOs cumulatively across the country. The model is just very simple. We try to finance the life cycle financial needs of a typical FPO. So we are providing life cycle finance to meet the credit requirements right from their initial startup phase, that's the growth phase, as well as the maturity phase. So typically, during the early stage or the nascent stage, FPOs, they start with dealing in bulk procurement of inputs and they sell to members. And progressively what they do, they try to build up their own resources. They gradually ascend to output selling and they try to find high value market linkages. Finally, they evolve. So NAPKISAN recognizes the need for supporting these FPOs at different stages of the life cycle in order to transform them from a startup stage to a mature business entity. So what are the loan products you all must be interested that we are offering? So primarily we have a working capital loan facility which caters to the procurement and sale of agri inputs, the working capital requirements for collective marketing, for doing value addition and processing. So working capital limits are fixed, covered around 2 to 3 seasons for taking up multiple activities. We also have a term loan facility which is helpful in creation of agri infrastructure. Like when the FPOs try to expand their business, the term loan requirement comes into place. They need funds for procuring farm machinery, for setting up seed processing centers, for grading, sorting, for doing packing units, for funding storage go-downs, cold storage, for establishing processing units like dal mills, chilling plants, customizing centers, post-harvest handling facilities. So NAPKISAN has been financing all these term loan requirements at a very, very low interest rate. Our interest rates are almost the lowest in the industry. And our model of financing is always collateral free because we bank upon the various credit guarantee schemes which are available from various institutions like SFAC, RABO, etc. And we also encourage the FPOs who are operating in the resource poor regions, like we give concessional interest rates to FPOs which are formed in NABARD's watershed and tribal development project areas. We also support FPOs for establishing micro food processing enterprises. And even tribal farmer members are being supported by NAPKISAN and concessional interest rate is being offered to them. And we are one of the largest implementer of the Agri Infrastructure Fund facility. So you all know that a much needed push to agri infrastructure is being met through the Agri Infrastructure Fund to improve the farm gate infrastructure at various points. So that's NAPKISAN is always trying to provide credit at adequate credit, structuring credit models as per the business needs of the FPO, reasonably priced, which is affordable to the FPOs without any hassles. FPOs will be able to avail credit from us. So with our footprints in FPO operations almost spanning to more than 22 states, NAPKISAN is playing a very vital role in FPO lending space to suit the dynamics of FPO credit requirements. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much, Seba madam, and for your wonderful insights. I'll come back to you. Few questions I have after the panelists. But sir, if you can also share about what are the opportunities for the producer organization, not only in your point of view from your organization, if you also talk about in general how the opportunities are for the producer organization in the country accessing finance, and particularly what are the kind of different products and services which you are offering to the producer organization? If you can talk about it, will be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Bala. Good morning, everyone, and welcome the eminent panelists for this. Thank you, Bala, for giving this opportunity to speak on this occasion, because As Shiba was telling, agriculture is one of the areas which needs to be focused, developed, and nurtured to see that if at all country has to develop, this is one area which needs to be developed. And when Shiba talked first about the FPCs, no, NAPKISAN is one organization which has been in this space for quite some years. But from the point of view of FWWB, Friends of Women's World Banking India, I would just like to brief about the organization in 1 or 2 minutes. It's an organization, a 40-year-old NGO, working in the space of women empowerment. In fact, the organization was established by Elaben Bett to promote low-income women to participate in the mainstream economy by capacity building and providing financial services and products. The basic objective is to provide financial products and services and enhance the access to these people to come up in their life and also participate in the economy. In that way, over 40 years, FWWB has been responsible in, say, developing the microfinance sector, developing the SHG lending over the years. And this FPO space, I think I can proudly say that FWWB is one organization which has initiated the FPO process much before anybody has thought of it. Where CEOs coming from outside. In that way, the local farmers themselves, they have to select one of the CEOs and try to develop run it as a business entity. At that point, it becomes a very challenging situation for them to convert it into a business entity. In that way, FWWB has been trying in building the capacity of these farmers by conducting training programs to them as to what are the opportunities for them to one is in the space of collectivization, how they can collectivize the produce and sell it outside. Then also how they can make available the inputs at a reasonable cost, because if you are procuring the inputs in bulk and able to get, and the quality of inputs is also an issue. In that way, providing the inputs also, that was second thing. Third thing is on the building systems and processes. But what we see is in the informal organizations, we rarely find these systems and processes. At that point of time, also these systems and processes were to be built within the organization. In that way, it provided those type of facilities. The last thing is on the HR development also. The HR development in terms of governance and also in terms of managing the business. The board of directors and also the staff of this one, they were also given training as to what are the things to be done. Unless they understand what has to be done, what should be the objective, what should be the business plan. These are the initiatives with which SWWB started working with the FPO. Then at that point of time, yes, there was a need for credit for these organizations. It was it was only in terms of informal nature. See, it is not a formal credit system or like that. In the way of, okay, I see this FPO. FPOs are have a small business plan. They are able to do these things. In that way, we started giving credit as low as 2 to 5 lakhs. See how they will understand absorbing credit and how they can develop the system. In that way, we started giving credit. Over the years, we have lent to more than, say, about 150 FPOs, covering about disbursement of about 1,000 crores. As of now, we have about 60 FPOs live relationship with an outstanding of about 20 to 25 crores. In that way, the FPO space has been developing over the years, but it is still in the nascent stage. FWWB considers the in the FPO space, the nascent organizations. What we try to do is support the nascent organizations and try to make them build their capacity, and they are able to absorb credit. Once they avail credit from FWWB, they are able to create a credit history. They are able to understand the gaps in them and then approach. 1 or 2 cycles, they take credit from FWWB. When the requirement increases, when their diverse requirements are there, at that point of time, yes, they have a system of credit record having availed loans from FWWB and then going to the other banks, because the formal credit institutions have a system of putting 3 years vintage. Unless you have a 3 years balance sheet, we would not be able to. But FWWB does not have that type of thing. Even a just registered FPO can also be financed by us. We just start with a smaller amount. And in terms of the products, what we can say is all the products what Shiba was mentioning, definitely I would not like to repeat on those things. But 1 or 2 special or unique things what we do is we assess the requirement based on the requirement. We discuss with the board of directors, we discuss with the CEO and the other employees and try to understand. And also you'll bring in their value, because when Bala was talking, he was telling that FPOs would not understand what is their credit need. They are not able to assess their credit need. In that way, our people help in understanding the credit needs. How? What is that? What is your capacity to procure food grains? How many, if we are talking in terms of inputs, how many farmers have requested you to supply the fertilizers or pesticides? Make a number. They list them. If there are 50 farmers, if the requirement is say 5 lakh rupees, then you try to take 5 lakh rupees from us, then procure those things, then sell that, have a margin on that. After that, you repay. In that way, such a smaller, even a minute understanding of the subject, we try to make to the FPOs and try to give the product. We have products of working capital. We provide even the term loan facilities also. And also even warehouse receipts, against warehouse receipts also the line is given. And also if they have got any requirement, any sort of requirement, if there is a requirement and we understand that that requirement is there, we can devise a product and give it to them. Product is not a restrictive lending practice for us. We can devise any type of product and any type of requirement we can meet the FPOs and give it. In that way, different types of FPOs can be given. One thing is the nascent FPOs. We concentrate because many of the organizations, say the formal lending institutions like NBFCs or even the banks and other things, no, they see certain sort of vintage. When they have to start, they do not have any vintage. That vintage we try to create in these FPCs and see that they are able to stand on their own, understand the nuances of business, how to conduct the business, and try to take that. The second thing is on the repayment terms, because that is also very important for FPCs when they avail credit. Because the interest of the lending organization is that the credit, whatever has been given, has to be utilized properly for the purpose for it is given. And second one is once the credit is utilized, whether they are able to generate surplus, which is adequate to meet the repayment commitments, including the interest. The third thing is whether the principal would be repaid by these organizations. If you are satisfied with that, if you are convinced that yes, it is going to happen, then the lending happens. In that way, these FPCs, if they are able to understand that and if they are able to utilize, definitely there is an opportunity for them to take. The repayment terms is flexible, very flexible. We talk to the FPOs, we understand from them. Suppose if they say that we are going to procure red gram, it requires 3 or 6 months to we procure and then sell it outside. Definitely understanding them and taking their consent only you fix the repayment. Very flexible repayment. Suppose for the same commodity, one FPC may take 6 months repayment period. The other FPC, if it requires 8 months and we are convinced that yes, 8 months have to be given, definitely that 8 months repayment. In that way, we are a flexible financing organization with various options. Definitely we are there to support these nascent FPO organizations with the type of credit facility, whatever they need. Thank you, Bala. I will stop at
Sure. Yeah, thank you, sir. We'll just come back to you a couple of questions after that. I now call upon Mr. Suresh and Mr. Sridhar, which I would like to, because we have seen the challenge is that we heard, and many times when we are facilitating also, if you're not able to decide or arrive at what are their credit needs. Yeah. Can you, how we can actually help the producer organizations to understand what is their credit needs? Yeah. And also whether it is a working capital requirement or whether it is a investment related. Yeah. How do we, because they mix everything. I think their understanding. Can you help us, the entire participants here? How do we help FPOs to assess their credit needs? And then what are the kind of, what types of these credit needs are? And adding to that, if you can also share about your products, yeah, which will be also useful for the participants they can approach later. Yeah. Over to you, Suresh. Then I will call upon Sridhar. Yeah.
Yeah. Good morning to all of you. Okay. I am representing Kotak Mahindra Bank for this great session on funding the FPOs and the intricacies being faced by the FPOs and all. As clearly communicated by the other panelists, the FPOs are still in the nascent stage. They are not matured enough. I have met a lot of FPOs in collaboration with a lot of FIs and all. NABARD also I have met. What my observation about the FPOs is that they are lacking a concrete business model. If I go and approach any FPO, basically, by seeing a banker, they fear to talk and they fear to share their business model. They say that initially we wanted to do input business. If I say I have met about close to 70 FPOs, out of 70, almost 65 people, they said that they require only funding for the input business. Beyond input, most of the FPOs are not thinking of the other. I think the grooming of the FPOs have to be done in a proper manner. Second observation about the FPOs is that most of the FPOs are telling that why don't you fund for the on-lending to our members? Which that is also that model will not work for the FPOs. On-lending model has got its own problems and all. FPOs, they have to have their own business line. As communicated by other panelists, they can think of doing the collective aggregation. They can try to have the market linkages. Most of the FPOs are not able to find market linkages, which is crucial for the success of any FPO. And one more thing is that if, as a banker, if we go to an FPO, they say that we require about 50 to 60 lakh of funding. When we go deep into the requirements and all, the requirement would be far lesser. About as informed in the initially, the average requirement of any FPO is between 10 to 15 lakhs for the nascent FPOs. The established FPOs are very minimum. So the established FPOs are taking a good shape and they are growing well. But the need of the hour is to how to groom these nascent FPOs. Banks have taken this FPO model as a viable business opportunity because RBI has also given emphasis for funding the FPOs. And there are guarantees available from SFAC and NABARD. So banks are also interested to fund to the FPOs. From the bank side, the major hurdle or the hindrance we are facing is that the reach to the FPOs. We are not able to reach to the FPOs. FPOs are getting formulated, but they may be having the credit requirements and all. We are finding we are finding it very difficult to reach the FPOs until there is a good BC type of arrangement where the ground level people like poppies and all, they have to converse with the banks and they have to bring the FPOs to the bank's table. So going to the fields and meeting FPOs on a sporadic basis, I think will not enable the banks to understand the real needs of the FPO business. So as regards the products are concerned, as a banker, we have got all the products. Either working capital, term loans, or bill discounting model. I think bill discounting model is also a good avenue for the FPOs for the marketing their own aggregated produce.
Yeah. anything you would like to highlight? What are the kind of products you have for the producer organizations?
Yeah. We are generally doing products including working capital and the term loans. Working capital for the product for determining the working capital cycle. We are offering the working capital products. And term loan, generally most of the FPOs are asking for the term loan for construction of the warehouse and all. The warehouse construction is in fact a very good avenue for funding to the FPOs because it comes with a government subsidy and there is an interest subvention also. As a bank, the rates of interest are very competitive. We can fund to the FPOs for developmental projects like warehouse construction or farm mechanization. These are the two avenues where the banks can fund in terms of the term loans. For the working capital requirements, yes, for getting inputs, okay, and for storing the numbers produced also, we can offer the commodity loans and all. The products wise, I think there is no limit as regards the products are concerned. We can structure any product the FPO requires. What we require is that FPOs should have the clear understanding about the credit requirement, which we are finding it difficult from the FPOs.
Okay. Thank you, Suresh. I have a few more questions. I'll just maybe come back to you after Sridhar. Sridhar, thank you so much. And I think I think in India, NAPKISAN and Samunnati is two organizations has actually been lending to many of the producer organizations today in the country. We would like to understand how we have seen actually our own FPOs or some of the partners FPOs. They find it very difficult. They don't know what are their credit needs. How Samunnati is helping them, or what are the ways in which actually they can estimate, first of all, their credit needs and type of credit needs, because they are not able to differentiate their credit needs itself, first of all. Yeah. The second, if you can also throw, what are the kind of products and services Samunnati is offering as a bundle of services to the producer organization? It will enlighten all our participants to kind of come back post how they can actually also reach to all of you. Yeah. Thank you so much. Over to you.
Thanks, Bala. Morning, everyone. Most of the co-panelists have already covered all the points, but however, will definitely touch upon our way of engaging with the farmer producer organizations. See, one thing is very important when we connect with an FPO, we should not look at a transaction level. We should look at FPO as a relationship, right? So if you look at a farmer producer organization, we all are aware they are basically farmer owned, farmer controlled, farmer operated. So definitely you have the board of directors. We also have the CEO of the FPO. They are all from the agri background and they are also basically farmers. So if you try to wear a banker's hat and try to do the business, it may not work. So it's very important you actually look at them as a relationship and start engaging with them. That's where you will be able to understand them in a very detailed manner. Coming back to your questions, Bala, in terms of how Samunnati engages their credit needs, how do we do the assessment? When we started, we actually looked at giving them working capital and term loan, which all of us are giving. But what Samunnati felt was when you, as a banker, as an NBFC, you keep asking them information, you are not able to get it because they are very weak in terms of their operations. They don't have proper systems, tools to record the transactions. They are dependent on the chartered accountant to provide those informations, right? Also, some of the governance, legal compliances are weak. So that's where Samunnati, we started developing a in-house grading and assessment tool, which is the first step for us to engage with an FPO. So this grading and assessment tool is deployed at the FPO level, be it a nascent, growth phase or a mature. It tells us very clearly in terms of 5 to 7 parameters how the FPOs are as on that day in terms of their financial capabilities, marketing capabilities, governance, outreach, technology initiatives, member engagement. So these are all some of 7 to 8 broad parameters. We assess them and also we try to capture their aspirations. So that gives us a clear picture in terms of, okay, if Samunnati wants to engage with the FPO, how the approach should be. Very importantly, the moment you spoke about, how do you look at the credit need? Here, definitely Samunnati helps the FPO to prepare a business plan, number one. because the business plan is very, very important. It's not that they don't have a business plan, they do have. But when we have interacted with them, when we look at the business plan, those are typically a numbers which is like a 5 crore turnover or a 10 crore turnover, which we understood, they have just factored in the total number of farmers, the acreage they own, and with the input needs or the output, they have just put the number. But reality, if you see, they have not even achieved 15% of that number. So that's how Samunnati helps the FPO to realistically put up a business plan, taking into account what are the villages that you operate, how many member farmers are active and engaging with you, who all are the suppliers, and what are the types of input that you have bought, what is the volume you have done on the input side in the last 4-5 cycles. If you are also into the output side of the business, what is the total output you have done? Are you connected to the institutional buyers or the local mandis for selling your output? So this is a very detailed exercise that we do with the FPO and try to explain them with their own data what is available. And we say, okay, we will start engaging with you by giving you a limit that will take care of your input or an output or business. So that is how you start engaging with them and help the FPOs to say, this is what it is. Because your member farmers are going to remain with you. You are going to continue the activities. The crop cycles are going to be there. And Samunnati is also going to be there. So let us not talk about, you need a 30 lakh or a 50 lakh. Let us start with you on a particular activity to make you understand the process so that you also get comfortable. Your member farmers are also happy. So that's how Samunnati's approach is to get into a detailed grading assessment, a detailed discussion with the board of directors and the CEO, look at their past transactions in terms of the crop cycles, what they have done, and accordingly give them the credit limit that will take care of their current activity and what is the plan that they have in the next 2 to 3 crop cycles, rather than looking at a 5-year business plan. So that is Samunnati's approach, and we have been successful in terms of understanding their needs and supporting them. So as we speak, we look at giving them working capital anywhere between, say, 5 lakh and go up to a crore, depending on the maturity of the FPO and also the activities that they do. Very important, another important product that we have come out is especially for the nascent FPOs, because it takes time. The first 9 months is going on only to promote an FPO, getting the members on board, to the capacity building. So that's where these people don't have enough capital except for the equity what they have raised, as you mentioned. So Samunnati came out with a IPL product. We call it as a instant pre-approved loan, which is fully digitized, right? Here we understand the nascent FPOs definitely need a 3 lakh to a 5 lakh amount that they can start the basic level of activity. So this in the last 6 months, we have come out with this full digitized product. We call it as an IPL, instant pre-approved loan, where an FPO can opt for 3 lakh to 5 lakh of rupees, and they are able to take care of 1 or 2 activities that they want to get in. And the tenor is flexible anywhere between 30 days to, they can give it within 6 months. That is how we have structured it. And quite every FPO has been finding it very easy to take. And they have been appreciative of this because in the last 6 months, we have done almost 12 crores with 600 plus FPOs only taking this particular product over and above the regular FPO lending that we do. That is one. Number two, many of the panelists, and you also mentioned about how the member farmers, are there any products available? We also found out many of the FPOs wanted to provide inputs on credit to their member farmers, but they don't have the process to deal with that. So again, Samunnati came out with a pay card solution, a digitized solution, wherein we onboard the FPO first, and we ask them to start a pilot with 50 farmers with whom they are comfortable from their database, who have been continuously engaging with the FPO. So we start with the 50 farmers where the pay card is handed over, and they are able to do all the input transactions to the pay card in the form of a loan. So that is how Samunnati understand these needs and help the FPOs with, giving them all those small needs that they need. But only thing is, we wanted to scale, but mindful of the fact it needs time for us to, bring that process into the place, make the farmer engage with the FPO. End objective is more farmers should engage with the FPOs. That is what it is, because that's how the turnover of the FPO is also going on. So that is what is Samunnati's approach. And having said that, it doesn't stop there. We also, because Samunnati is a value chain enabler in the agriculture sector, we also connect FPOs to many of the mainstream markets. We give them all the capacity building trainings, right? Not the typical training what they go, but really do a practical training on the ground, exposure visits. And also if some of the FPOs wants to get into processing, We help them by doing this, preparing the DPR, the detailed project report. I have seen FPOs, because there is a grant available, they just go and apply for a 10 crore grant. But we go and tell them whether do you have the capability to run that processing unit. If you are putting a 50,000 capacity processing unit, do you have enough sourcing to run that plant? So this is what we get into a little detailed discussion with them. That is what, as I rightly said, we have a dialogue with them rather than doing it as a transaction. So relationship is important. Last, I will touch upon the digitization, because all FPOs really are not able to manage their operations manually or with a simple Excel what they have. So Sammoonity has developed an in-house digitization tool, and we take it to the FPO so that they are able to record it, and that helps them to connect with all the ecosystem players. Just to give an example, the FPO wants to know with one member what is the transactions in the last 3 crop cycles they have done. They just have to click the button, the data is available with them. If they wanted to come out with, say, a analysis, how many member farmers have bought, say, a particular type of inputs, they can just go and run that query. They will be able to. That helps them to prepare for the future intent, right? Similarly, if they wanted to connect with some of the market players, just to talk to them, are you ready to buy? Which quality and all? They just have to go to the system and say how many farmers are actually producing this particular crop variety. They know what are the acres that they have and what are the yield expected. They can connect with the institutional buyers. That's how Sammoonity constantly is engaged with the FPO. As I said, we don't look at them as a transaction. We look at them as a relationship, because all said and done, farmers, FPOs, they are promoted for the welfare of the smallholder farmers. And Sammoonity's mission also is to make markets work for smallholder farmers. Both missions are aligned. So FPO is an important asset class for Sammoonity, and we believe the next decade is going to be FPOs only. Thanks, Pal.
Thank you, Sridhar. Wonderfully put. I think a lot of insights. I think we'll come back to you. I'd like to put questions to now to Bhatt sir and also Suresh, or also other panelists also can jump in. I think we are also. I think we are ready to also speak to Yogesh. Before that, I would like to understand from I think Suresh and Bhatt sir is that, and then others also can pitch in. What are the kind of parameters you look at? I think we are hearing nascent stage. We wanted a good business plan, or they should have a business model.
Yeah.
What are the parameters you look at assessing them to give a loan? If you can put a kind of very briefly A, B, C, D, F, we look at it. If it is there, we will go ahead and then lending it to them.
Yeah. We have got about 4 broad parameters for funding to the FPOs. First is that the governance and management, because the financials of the FPOs are not so great. So what the primary importance we have given to funding to the FPOs is that governance and management. So how many board members are there? What is the quality of the board? Okay, or what about the housekeeping of the FPO? Whether they are submitting all the returns? That is that comes under the governance and management. Second parameter, what we have put in our assessment model is that the process and systems of FPOs. Because unless until the process and systems are perfect enough, they cannot actually have a sound, decent business model, which in the long run. So under the process and systems, now we have got again other 4-5 sub parameters, like what is their accounting, okay. And what is their credit track payment? If they take any loans and all, what is the credit track? What about the statutory filings? Whether monthly filing with the ROC is happening or not? Okay. And what is the portion of their cash transactions in the business? If they undertake any business, what is their cash transactions in the business? This also we consider. The third parameter, what we see is that the financial performance. So if the FPO has got a business model, what is the sales? What is the trend of the sales? Is there any profit element in the business? Okay, and within within what time frame the FPO can get into the profits? And finally, we also see what is the debt to net worth. What is the net worth of the FPO and what is the loan they are looking at? These are the in the financial parameters. Now we have taken only these 4 things for assessing the credit requirements to the FPOs. And finally, we also see the business and operations. Another business and operations business model, whether the business model is sustainable, okay, and whether it is linked with the market linkages and all. And price risk of the commodities the FPOs actually take. What are the commodities are there? The price risk, the volatility of the commodity the FPOs wanted to handle and all. Third one is that how many lenders are there in the FPO, both organized as well as unorganized. These are the four broad parameters we are following at present to assess the requirements of the.
I think also you look at the number of years or from the registration, or they need to have at least 2 years, 3 years their balance sheet.
We are looking for at least 2 years from the date of registration with the experience of one crop cycle.
Okay. Thank you. Sir, if you can also bring it in your perspective, what are the kind of eligibility criteria you look at it when you lend it to FPO? Yeah.
From the FWWB perspective, what we see is whether it is an entity either registered under the Cooperative Act or any of the legal provisions, maybe as a trust or a society or a FPC, farmer producer organization. That is the first thing, that yes, all these people have come together and they have an intention to do this business of either collectivization or input supply or some other value-added services to the farmer. That is the basic requirement, because we started with the informal credit system in that way. But having said that, once we grow in the side, that has to be certain sort of formalities. Though formalities have been structured, I think we look at almost 6 parameters when we look at the FPO lending. Most of the things which Suresh has mentioned, but there the one is about the which things which he has not touched is what we see is on the promoting organization and what is their background in promoting these FPOs, whether like Vritti is there or ASA is there or CIKS is there, how they have been, how their FPCs have been able to function. That gives the greatest comfort to us that yes, if it has been promoted by Vritti or if it has been promoted by ASA, the 50% of the assessment requirement goes down. In that way, we see that. Second thing is on the governance, as Suresh has put, governance is thing. Then the financial position. What is the financial position of the return? Having said that, we don't expect that they have to have a capital of 50 lakhs or 70 lakhs. Lot like whether they have that minimum capital, how many farmers have contributed for the capital, how many active members are there, and what is the interest of the board of directors in running the affairs of the institution. That is the most important thing which we look. Through discussions, we can understand that what is their level of understanding, what is their level of commitment. If we feel that they are committed and they have the passion to see that help the smallholder farmers and develop these smallholder farmers, definitely we chip in even with 5 lakhs of capital or 2 lakhs of capital. We start with say 2 to 5 lakhs of working capital limits to them, and then we understand the gaps. Once we give the 2 lakhs, what we do is we understand gaps. What are the gaps in them? Try to build those gaps with our capacity building. What we make is build the capacity of these farmers combined with the credit. That is what the thing. Then the next is on the strategic business plan, whether they prepare the business plan. As I told earlier, no, we help them in creating, like Sridhar was also mentioning, that they do not have the nitty-gritty idea of as to how to prepare the business plan and make that. We help them to prepare the business plan. If they have some idea, we take their idea, and you need to understand the language of the farmers at that point of time. What is that they want to convey to us? How they would like to take. Suppose if you are putting your own insights into that, definitely they will agree with that, and ultimately we will be able to come to a conclusion that this should be the business plan. Accordingly, as per the business plan, this is the credit requirement, and that is how you are able to get this much credit. That is the thing which we see. Then about the marketing and the value addition also, because unless you have a some sort of marketing support and the value addition thinking, because the FPCs cannot say directly purchasing the farmer and selling it to the mandis, that would not make any business sense for them. They need to understand that yes, there should be some value addition proposition or the processing proposition or marketing linkages, that type of thing. Then on the financial management and the MIS, I think these are very important things. Even though they are not there, we have to make them learn as to how the reportings have to be done, what are the filings that have to be done. We provide the support of even chartered accountants and the company secretaries. From our capacity building funding, we say about 10 FPOs, we appoint one chartered accountant or one CA to help these FPOs to understand their requirements and see that their MIS requirements are also met. The last one thing is their gender awareness and gender participation. We see how many women are participating in this one, how many women board members are there. We have a special dispensation for the farmer producer organizations if they have only one woman board member, or if they do not have any woman board member. We say that if you are in the next 1 year, if you are inducting 2 woman board members, we'll give you 0.5% concession in the rate of interest what we provide the loan. These are the things what we try to develop the system. See that our ultimate aim is to develop this ecosystem. One is seeing them as a borrowing entity. Second thing is helping them to develop in the ecosystem so that they are able to do the job what they are expected to do very effectively and meeting the requirement of the smallholder farmers. Because smallholder farmers also need some sort of confidence, the trust on the people who are running the affairs of the institution. Those sort of these are all invisible things. Only when we visit the farmers, talk to the cluster of farmers, then only we'll understand. I think these are some of the things we try to understand from them and try to devise a credit product to the FPOs.
Sure. Thank you, sir. Now, I'll maybe come back to Sridhar and Seba madam later, because I'll just go to Yogesh to talk about how the experience of Madhya Bharat and the producer organization, what are the things which actually helped FPOs or the Madhya Bharat to access credit? If you can talk about that. And then also I would like to understand from you also, in what stage or what are the kind of parameters in which also our FPOs got rejected? If you can talk about positive side of it and then also why it got rejected, then that will help the participants to also understand how they need to prepare their own FPOs to be ready to avail credits. Yeah. Over to you, Yogesh ji. Thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah. Thank you, Balaji. Good morning, everybody. Respected all panelists and audiences who have joined this program. जैसा कि बालाजी ने बोला है कि what is our experiences actually being a federations. In fact, I was involved, in the formation of FPO, since very long. So, in fact, just WhatsApp जो बोल रहे थे कि in fact 2011-12 कुछ आप बोल रहे थे, but what I remember कि FWW, in fact, they have started in fact little early before. I remember 2009-10. There was some FPOs actually, and we have approached to FWW that Ananya and FWW both we are working. In fact, both are still working. So, जो हमारा एक्सपीरियंस है उसमें ये देखा गया है कि अगर हम मध्य भारत में देखेंगे, I remember कि getting the first loan actually, getting the first credit actually, that is the most challenging. That is the most challenging. Not today, presently that situation is, it is improved. But if you see the back, in the past actually, 5, 6 years, 10 years ago actually, 9 years ago. So that situation was different actually when there were very few NBFCs were there, and the concept was that time was very new. So in that time, I think the role of Ananya Finance, FWW, that was very important actually, and they played really wonderful role actually initial days. And I remember Busy Van or that unconditionals basically that credit they have offered, and that 5 lakhs something. I remember there was some HIVO, there was some project came actually. So in the partnership with some agencies, they came out with some 5 lakhs as Samunati started now. There is no conditions, nothing. Is it a simple credit without much loaded conditions or any उसमें था नहीं. So that was very useful for the FPOs, क्योंकि जो अभी भट्ट साहब भी बोल रहे थे, इनफैक्ट जो हमारे ऑनरेबल पैनलिस्ट जो कोटक के थे वो भी बात कर रहे थे कि विदाउट क्रेडिट हिस्ट्री जो है कोई भी पब्लिक बैंक जो है वो लोन देने में उनको काफी प्रॉब्लम होता है. और अभी जो रोल और हमें भी इनफैक्ट याद है कि हमें जो फर्स्ट लोन जो हमें मिला था दैट वाज गिवन बाय दी अनन्या फाइनेंस से हमें 1 करोड़ का लोन मिला था. एंड उस लोन में इनफैक्ट जो नए एफपीओज हैं उनके बारे में जो पहले बता मैं दैट आई वांटेड टू शेयर माय एक्सपीरियंसेस की जो आपका सपोर्ट एजेंसीज है, सपोर्ट एजेंसीज आप जो है उनका रोल काफी इंपॉर्टेंट है. एंड द पीपल हु आर यू नो working as a manager or leading the project actually, तो उनका those you know people are very important कि who are you know in the you know preparing the business plan और जो liaising with the agencies वो काफी important है. So in our case that time ASA was there, we also supported by the SFAC. So हमारे पास वो सपोर्ट था. एंड सिंस वी वर ऑलरेडी वर्किंग ऑन दिस इश्यूज, तो मध्य भारत तो काफी लेट आया, उसके पहले ही हम लोग चूंकि इस तरह के काम कर रहे थे तो वो हमारे काम में आया. आपका जो वर्क है वो काम आता है, जो लोग उसमें जुड़े हुए हैं उनका एक्सपीरियंसेस क्या है. और एजेंसीज जो पहला है कि हमें 1 करोड़ का लोन मिला, देन ग्रेजुअली फिर IDBI से भी जो हमारा लिंक हुआ था उसमें अनन्या इज आल्सो सपोर्टेड अस एक्चुअली कि although there was you know conflict of interest का इशू था क्योंकि अनन्या हमें लोन दिया हुआ था, बट सेम टाइम उन्होंने IDBI used अनन्या, they charge 0.25% कि you do the no due diligence of Madhya Bharat and submit your report, and based on your report we will finance you know मध्य भारत. सो वो हमारा उन्होंने ड्यू डिलिजेंस किया था और उसमें 0.25% चार्जेस अनन्या ने चार्ज किया था. और उसमें हमें फिर बाद में CC लिमिट में जो क्रेडिट गारंटी स्कीम का हम लोगों ने जो फायदा उठाया था उसमें फिर हमें IDBI ने लोन दिया. तो ये जो अनन्या का रोल था वो दैट वाज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एक्चुअली. एंड इनफैक्ट हमारा जो प्रमोटिंग एजेंसीज है उनका रोल और ये काफी आपका इंपॉर्टेंट होता है इनिशियल में. अभी अच्छी बात है, अभी समुन्नति ये रोल काफी एग्रेसिवली प्ले कर रहे हैं और अभी ये बहुत अच्छी अपॉर्चुनिटीज है कि आपके पास अभी चॉइस हो गई है. आज अनन्या है, FWWE है, समुन्नति है, तो ये जो कर रहे हैं कि ये जो क्रेडिट अभी हमारे बहुत सारे FPOs है जो अभी लोन के लिए अप्लाई कर रहे हैं, तो उनमें अभी 5 लाख रुपए का जो उन्होंने काफी दिया हुआ है, एक उनका एक 360 सपोर्ट का एक मॉडल है समुन्नति का, जिसमें उन्होंने एक कुछ सपोर्ट भी कर रहे हैं. दे आर आल्सो सपोर्टिंग HR पार्ट सम यू नो डिफरेंट वे. तो दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर द FPOs कि वो उसके माध्यम से दे कैन यू नो क्रिएट देयर क्रेडिट हिस्ट्री. एंड देन उनका एक आध 2 राउंड साइकिल हो जाएगा, देन you know they will apply for under the credit guarantee schemes. So that is the you know experiences that I have.
Yeah, anything also related to the loan got rejected, any experiences why it is so, anything you would like to give some insights on that?
Yeah, in fact what I have seen actually, in fact we tried to you know said that loan should not be rejected actually. So we play that, we in fact as Madhya Bharat we also played that role with the you know NAP Kisan का हो चाहे FWWE का हो. So इन लोगों के साथ लाइजनिंग कराने में so we have connected several, but yes, if there is no support mechanism is there, as gentlemen were saying कि अगर FPOs में एक तो उनका बोर्ड है जो है that is also ये this is a little theoretical actually, बोर्ड में जो लोग इनिशियली जो लोग हैं वो if they are the farmer, if it is a producer organization, so उसमें we are not expecting कि बहुत ज्यादा highly educated या some you know good experienced people are there. Normally if it is a real FPO अगर है तो उसमें तो small and farmer marginal farmers है जिनका की education and उनका background is always poor. So in that cases, except you know Maharashtra and some in Gujarat, there are big FPOs kind of you know. So those are different cases, but they are not the typical FPOs, normal FPOs. So उस cases में the role of the promoting agency is very important. और अगर वहाँ पे role है, जैसे I have seen several cases कि जहाँ पे जो NGOs अगर they are not able to you know able to convince the financing जो agencies है उनको, if they are not able to convince them, उनको लगता है उनको खुद experience नहीं है, they never did they were never supported, they never did have that business experiences. तो वो अगर कोई support system नहीं है, that FPOs का फिर कोई भी एजेंसीज जो है वो सामने नहीं आती है. एंड आई रिमेम्बर कि जो भी एजेंसीज कोई ना कोई एक उन्होंने आइदर लेटर ऑफ कंफर्ट लेते हैं या गारंटीज का कुछ करने मैकेनिज्म दे है कि आप इसका गारंटी लीजिए. अगर वो नहीं होता है तो फिर कोई भी आगे नहीं आता है. तो वो सपोर्ट एजेंसीज का रोल जो है वो इम्पोर्टेंट है. और अगर इस तरह के अगर मैकेनिज्म नहीं है अगर वहां पे, तो फिर इस तरह के लोन को हमने रिजेक्ट होते हुए भी देखा है, जो इनके जो प्रपोजल्स है.
Sure, Yogesh. I'd like to also bring in Sridhar and the Seba madam. I think we heard from Suresh and Bhatt sir that what are the kind of parameters looked at while giving loan. If you can, Seba madam and Sridhar can actually can talk about in NAPKISAN, what are the kind of things you look at it? They are eligible for loans from NAPKISAN. Yeah, very brief.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. So I think we heard good insights from Mr. Yogesh Dwivedi. So the first point which he was mentioning was that getting the first credit is becoming very challenging. So I would like to state that in NAPKISAN, almost 97% of our clients are getting first credit from NAPKISAN. So we are making them bankable actually. So once they are becoming bankable, a past track record has been established. Other banks and NBFCs are able to chip in, seeing their repayment history. So that is, so credit history is already built. So that is one thing which NAPKISAN has really stepped forward. And coming on to the eligibility for availing a loan from NAPKISAN, so basically we look at 6 months existence of the FPO. They need to have one audited balance sheet as on date of our loan application, and a minimum paid up share capital of rupees 2 lakh and a positive net worth. So these are the 2-3 things which we look at the basic eligibility condition for an FPO who wants to avail credit support from NAPKISAN. So other than this, we have our own rating parameter tool which has been evolved, covering so many points which are already. So most of the parameters, they cover the age profile. We look at the age profile, we look at the governance, we look at the licenses which they have got, the services which are provided by the FPO to the members, and what type of convergences they have, and the financial aspects, like for example the bookkeeping aspects, whether they are able to maintain the books of accounts actually as a percentage to their share capital, their membership over the years, and whether their turnover is years. And we also see their representation of women in the board, whether there are any relatives among the directors, whether AGM is being regularly conducted, they have a proper full-time CEO, whether they have a proper business plan, they are able to really make up a business plan actually. So that is more important, because unless they have a business plan, none of the business can really flourish, and whether they have any infrastructure facility. So all these conditions are also factored in our rating parameters. So, but primarily I would like to put forth that there are only 2-3 conditions to avail loan from NAPKISAN. 1 6 months existence, they need to have one audited balance rupees 2 lakh with a positive net worth. So over to you, sir. Yeah.
Sridhar, you would like to,
Sure, Bala. I think all of them have actually covered from a banker's perspective. Mr. Bhatt, Mr. Suresh, Shiba ma'am, they have covered really in terms of what criteria one looks in terms of giving. I will not touch upon those which is already as part of our policy also. But what I will touch upon is some of the other additional things that we look at is basically the social capital and the credit capital which the FPO has built with their member farmers. That is very, very important in terms of how active you are with your members. Only when the members are active, the FPO is successful. That's number one. Number two, though the crop cycles we look at in terms of the leverage relationship that they have with their suppliers and buyers. This is very, very important. We don't want an FPO to just do a trading with one of the traders. Might be the last crop cycle would have been good, where the payments, everything would have happened. But if one of the cycle, if the trader is not able to repay, the FPO doesn't have any money to, do it. So that's the reason we like to diversify this. We support the FPOs in telling them you should have multiple buyers so that you don't have any challenges if one of the buyer doesn't repay. And so we look at in terms of leveraging who all are the buyers, who all are the suppliers. And very importantly, we also look at in terms of the entire ecosystem, what the board of directors and the CEO has played a role. That's very, very important in terms of understanding. Last 2-3 crop cycles definitely will give you a judgment in terms of where are they. But however, how are they looking at in the next 2 crop cycles? That is a key. So, the lag indicators are definitely giving you a comfort. But what is important is the lead, because that is where the activity is going to happen. And that capturing that information is critical. So that is what the relationship manager and the credit looks in terms of the lead indicators that's going to be there for this particular FPO. So this is what we look at, Bala, when we do our appraisal.
Thank you, Sridhar. That was wonderful to hear from you.
Balaji, just I have some things actually want to speak.
Sure. Please go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
One thing I wanted to highlight here actually, because some panelists were saying actually, most of the FBOs they don't have that any viable business model in place actually. So where I wanted to say actually, because although that is true actually, FPOs should have some good business model in place actually. But if you see the background of FPOs, जो हम लोग जिनके साथ काम करें, FPOs, farmers, if they are made under any project actually, or it is promoted by any NGOs, so they mostly belong to the farmers from the poor farmer, from the remote farmers, or they are from the tribal or OBC backwards kind of farmers. So जो वहाँ पे what they are trying to do actually, अगर business model की हम बात करें, if you see the whole business development model in the country and across the board actually, so there is a very rare cases. If you see the background की अगर वो if you see the Reliance, what Reliance is today actually, how they were started their business, whether they have started with the Jamnagar or they are the Reliance.com actually. No, they have not started with them. If you see their history was different actually. How they were, because the people who don't have capital base actually, who don't have the business experiences, who don't have the expertise, so they will start from the basics of the businesses. They will learn, they will do the mistake initially, but gradually, and I have seen the transformation of the people actually. In fact, the people who are in our board now, they belong to certain FPOs. So when they are today, they are coming, they are talking very differently actually. But if I remember 15 years back actually, so that the story was completely different actually. So what I wanted to highlight here, please don't expect much designed any business model actually. But yes, if you are giving the money, surely you would like to that money should return in the time with whatever time you have given. But FPOs बहुत सारा जो जैसे बात हो रहा है कि basically initially they are only doing the things that their farmers are demanding. उनका agri input is the need कि जिसको उनको उसमें उनको मदद की जरूरत है. उनका जो produce है, उस produce को how they can sell their produce in the better market so that better price can be realized and it can reach to the farmers. So then there are other farm machineries and other उनका जो problems agriculture technologies से related है, post harvest से related है, वहाँ पे वो काम करते हैं. तो वो mix of activities को लेकर के they are starting their businesses. But if you say some cases जहाँ पे कोई NGOs है, if they have some background, वहाँ पे कोई एक specific product को लेकर के उन्होंने काम शुरू किया हुआ, but it doesn't mean कि that is a FPO initiative. It is not that own FPO initiative. It is an initiative that is already started by some promoting agencies. चाहे वो कोई भी बड़ा NGOs को आप देखेंगे, चाहे वो पोल्ट्री की बात हो, चाहे वो और बहुत सारे इस तरह के आपको एग्जांपल मिलेंगे. But there are some institution that before that FPO they are already working there. उसमें आपको इस तरह के मॉडल मिलेंगे. But if you see the normal FPO, उसमें थोड़ा सा चैलेंजिंग है. तो उस केस में हमें थोड़ा सा जो रिक्वेस्ट है इनफैक्ट जो हमारे फाइनेंसिंग एजेंसीज से, तो उसको बहुत ज्यादा उसको एक्सपेक्ट मत करें कि आपको कि बहुत आपके पास दैट बिजनेस मॉडल उनका वेल प्रूफ बिजनेस मॉडल, दैट बिजनेस मॉडल विल इवॉल्व एक्चुअली विद द टाइम. एंड उनको एक बेसिक से शुरू करेंगे एंड ग्रेजुअली दे विल टर्म बिट, फिर इसके बाद वो प्रोसेसिंग, वैल्यू एडिशन, हाई लेवल प्रोसेसिंग एंड प्रोडक्ट, फिर उसमें स्पेसिफिक प्रोडक्ट पे वो जाएंगे। बट इनिशियली जो है वो थोड़ा सा वो चैलेंज एफपीओ में रहता है कि वो उस तरह की चीजें, क्योंकि उनके पास नाइदर उनके पास कैपिटल है, ना उनके एक्सपीरियंस है, नाइदर उनके पास तक मार्केट लिंकेज है, तो इसलिए वो उस तरह के हाईली सोफिस्टिकेटेड अगर इसमें प्रोसेसिंग और इसमें लेके जाते हैं, तो दैट आई हैव आल्सो एक्सपीरियंस कि उन्होंने बहुत सारा प्रोडक्ट तैयार कर लिया, बट देयर इज नो वायर इज अवेलेबल एक्चुअली। सो ये इस तरह का थोड़ा बैकग्राउंड है, तो इसमें थोड़ा फंडिंग एजेंसीज को और उनको मैं चाहूंगा कि इस पे उनको सपोर्ट और उसमें उनको हेल्प करने का जरूरत है। थैंक यू।
Thank you, Yogesh. I think wonderfully put. I think really that's a struggle for all our producer organization. I think as Resource Institute or the Financial Institute, some of them also trying to help our FPOs to arrive at those business models. I think it is evolving. I think we will make it there, but I think your request, and I think it's really valid. I think hope all the financial institutes will consider and look at various parameters to provide loans to the producer organization. I have one question to all the panelists. Like, which is, I think, when initially Sandra presented about CAC and NAFPO. CAC is in about 35 states. We have around 42 partners are working with 1.6 crores of farmers. We have been working, and there are NGOs with promoting and nurturing producer organization. And already NAFPO is also having a membership of about 1,500 producer organization. Do you see anything this CAC and NAFPO can actually help the financial institutes and playing some role which can actually accelerate what the challenges you might be facing it as a financial institute? I think I heard from Suresh, when reaching to the FPO itself, also some challenges for them. Yeah. Can you see any role which CAC or NAFPO can actually play and bridge this gap between the producer organization and to the financial institute? If any of the panelists, if you would like to go ahead, please.
Yeah, we want this partnership definitely, because under partnership model, we are of the opinion that under the partnership model only we can take forward the FPO funding. So with your active support and all, and I think you should play a cohesive role in actually bridging the gap between the FPO and the bank, because banks generally fund FPOs at a very competitive rates of interest. Only thing is that we are not able to reach. That's the fact of the life. So if a partnership model is evolved between like-minded organizations like you and all, I think we can take care of the requirements of the FPO in a better manner.
Sure, we will get in touch with you. Anything from her or Seba Madam and Butcher?
I think, Bala, one entity cannot be engaging with an FPO. That is the rule of, if you really wanted to see success in this space, it has to be a collaborative approach, right? And Sammunati is already tied up with most of the CBPOs and RIs. And we are also actively with NAFPO and CSC also, where we are not looking at only funding as one thing that can, yes, that is important. Funding is an important element for an FPO. But how do you bring this FPO as an asset class in the ecosystem? And that is where you need to collaborate with many of the institutions which have that expertise in that, right? So the Sammunati believes in that. So instead of developing everything in-house, we collaborate and connect with so many ecosystem partners, including AgTech companies, including some of the donors, including some of the agencies in this sector, so that we understand this particular service or solutions that they offer, and might be Sammunati bundle it along with the finance or market and take it to the FPO, so that the FPO gets the benefits, and if it is for the FPO, definitely it is going to the smallholder farmers, right? So we strongly believe in this approach, and any collaboration, Sammunati already, I know you have worked with 100+ institutions which have signed an MOU with us. It doesn't stop at MOU signing, but we actually engage it on the ground. Most of the tech companies have got the solutions of the product, but they don't have the bandwidth to reach the smallholder farmers. So they definitely come to Sammunati. We collaborate with them, connect with the FPOs, and take that solution to the farmers, right? So that way we believe in collaboration, and that is what is the approach for way forward also going to be. Bala.
Thank you so much.
Bala,
Yeah.
Thanks, Sridhar. I think from my side, the thing is, we have built some successful models in the sense that, see, NPM, non-pesticide management products, who are FPOs who are doing that, linking with market. Safe Harvest is one organization. Like those successful models where FPOs have been, one is working towards the climate, that is natural farming, improving the quality of the soil. In that way, accelerating or scaling up these models to different areas. Wherever these type of successful models are there, scaling up can be helped by NAFO and making the success stories worldwide or the countrywide or different region-wide. That is one thing. Second thing is, from the FPO side, what we have seen, we wanted to provide alternate livelihood support system for the FPOs through the on-lending loans, which was mentioned by Sridhar and even Madam Shiba also. But what we find is these FPOs are not yet ready to have that robust system. They do not have. I think that sort of understanding we need to build in the FPOs, that for which they are ready, one for which they are not ready. If they are able to go to those type of things, they need to understand that these are the minimum things. Suppose if there are some growth stage or matured FPCs which would like to enter into the space of alternate livelihoods or on lending and other things, no, they should build proper systems. And I think identifying such enterprises or entities who can be taken up for such successful model, developing a business model, could be the initiative that could be taken by NAFO or CAC. Yeah.
Thank you. Seba, madam?
Yeah. So I would like to put it this way, like agricultural resurgence in the post-COVID era, it is possible only if we connect, if we have partners in the agri value chain financing. See, if you see, NAFKISAN has been designed various loan products even to support the agri value chain system financing. Like for instance, we had supported the cotton value chain at covering 4 states: Telangana, Maharashtra, Orissa, benefiting more than 10,000 smallholder tribal cotton farmers. And even if you see, like what sir was mentioning, like regarding the Safe Harvest also, we have been financing, connecting around 25 plus FPOs around covering 11 states and around 1 lakh farmers. And even we have even supported the value chain for cocoa procurement at Ernakulam, Kerala. And we have been even supporting for procurement of agri commodities from 115 plus FPOs covering 70,000 plus farmers across the southern states. And so what I feel that CAC and NAFCO can definitely partner in bridging the gap which is available in this agri value chain finance, because there are various partners who are there in this forward and bringing in the forward and backward linkages, the necessary steps which are required for the FPOs to sustain themselves. And even we also believe in giving a responsible debt to the FPO. So a debt which has manageable interest rate, so that the FPO will be able to sustain. So we all know that FPOs, they are farmer member-centric organization. So only savings in the interest rates will try to strengthen their own balance sheet, because there will be a reduction in the interest cost. So you can definitely step in to help them to identify those sources so that FPOs can be able to get credit at an affordable interest rates, and they can even pass on the benefit by way of patronage bonus to their members and also increase their borrowing capacity. Yes, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, all the panelists. I think we are a bit running late. I think we started also. Hope we can actually go maybe some 5 to 7 minutes more. I hope there may not be issue to all the panelists as well. Yeah. Yes. Okay. We have some questions have come from various participants in the chat box and also in the Q&A section. My colleagues are putting across. I'd like to maybe one is I think to Seba madam is that what percentage of FPOs to whom NAFKISAN lend default, and how are they? How you are actually dealing with? I think that is one question to you, ma'am.
Yeah. So as regards default disbursement, we had almost 1,400 FPOs we had sanctioned, and we have disbursed almost 450 crores. And out of this 450 crores, only 40 FPOs have defaulted as on date. And this default is mainly due to only the cash flow mismatches, and due to any willful default. So,
okay, Mr. Suresh, for you,
Yeah.
there is do you look at any collateral or personal guarantee from FPO or board of directors for
Right.
providing loan? Yeah.
Right away, we are not taking any collaterals or personal guarantees for the funding to the FPOs. We have devised our product in such a way that we are not taking any collaterals and personal guarantee. However, some of the FPOs who are matured enough, they are doing extremely volumes on a very large scale, about 500, 600 crores. So for them, the normal credit requirement norms are applicable. For 99% of the FPOs, we are not taking any collaterals or personal guarantees.
I think one I would like to, Suresh, also, it's a maybe different question. Do you, in your product, I saw you are mentioning about only the working capital and term loan.
Yeah.
Do you also have a overdraft facility or cash credit facility for
Yeah.
the organization?
Yes. The cash credit and the overdraft facilities are part of the working capital, including the bill discounting. So when I say it is a working capital, it is inclusive of all the cash credit, the overdraft, the bill discounting, and also the guarantees.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah. There is a question, maybe any of the panelists can come in. Credit for purchase or lease land for landless agricultural laborer, a woman who can actually emerge as a farmer producer. Not sure. Credit for purchase or lease land for landless agricultural laborer.
Purchase of land is restricted. In fact, there is for the banks, there is a scheme that Government of India for SC/ST can, for 2 acres of land, they can take finance. But for others, there is no finance for purchase of lands. Okay, but they can take it on lease and start their activity, and the lease rentals could be part of the working capital requirement.
Thank you, sir. I think many of you have mentioned about the various parameters you look at. Do you also look at what is their equity and vis-a-vis you look at sanctioning the loan? Do you also assess that? Any of the panelists or all of you can vote? Yeah.
We wanted the positive net worth while sanctioning any of the proposals. Second thing is that we always wanted the debt to equity should not be more than 5. So if FPO is having about 10 lakhs of capital, I wanted to limit my loan at around 5 lakhs. That's how actually we are working on.
We go up to 10 times also in deserving cases. Definitely, that is a thing. And if there is a requirement, even with the minimum capital also, if we understand that they have had the potential to grow, definitely we will fund them.
Okay.
So
yeah.
So we
yeah,
also look at the equity part, and we go up to 5 to really 20 times of the net worth based on their net worth. They should have a positive net worth, and they should have minimum equity capital of around 2 lakhs.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, Suresh, but what you mentioned, seems to be if somebody is having a 10 lakhs, you will only give 5 lakhs.
50 lakhs.
How does that?
It's a 50 lakhs, 5 times.
Okay.
5 times. 5 times of the capital, sir. It's a 5 times.
Okay. Thank you. And there is one, I think, do you also, I think now, many of the FPOs also get, like farmers coming together, they themselves are promoting. Do you differentiate any of these, or like here, financial institutes, only RI or the POPI or CBBO promoted FPOs only you lend, or any of the farmers producer organization which is promoted by themselves? Yeah, you will also look at that, or anything special kind of parameters you look at that?
Vala, there are 2 points in this. Okay, if I can come in.
Yeah.
One is promoted by a single farmer, aggregating the farmer, because the decision-making authority is a single farmer or a lead farmer. Okay. In such cases, we need to be very careful so that the vested interest should not develop there, and they are not working at the cost of the other small farmers. That is one thing. we have found out, but there are some cases where these single farmer promoted FPCs are also doing well. It is not that they are running it as a business entity, but ultimately what is the benefit derived by the member farmers? That also we need to keep in mind. The second thing is, if without the help of the promoting institutions, if group of farmers, very active farmers are coming together in farmer, we have no objection in giving loans to them. But we see the activity of the farmers and the involvement of farmers in the entire process of the FPC.
Bala, at Samunnati, there are three important things. One is we support self-promoted FPOs also, number one. Number two, we are mindful where we look at there is no concentration of family members on the board of directors. So we have come across many FPOs where you will see a father, son, daughter, daughter-in-law will all be the board of directors. We can say it's a clearly a vested interest. So we are mindful of that, and definitely we get into little more details in terms of our assessment with those kind of a thing. The third very important, this was also covered by but the vested interest. The third important is we also look at in terms of actually the benefits are going to the member farmers, or it is only the trading which is happening. Because the FPO is promoted, you will see the FPO is doing more a trading activity rather than the purpose of why the FPOs has been formed, right? So these are the three things that we also look at actually. Yeah. Next.
A few more questions. I think Mr. Murli has also asked one question is that about some of the, I think, financial institutes coming up with asking the promoting institution to give a comfort letter. How do you see this comfort letter? Because sometimes as a institutes, like it's a, like we are a society, Vritti is a society. How do I actually, comfort letter, I'm not sure how valid it is. Yeah. And how do we look at that? Or also, do we have any other mechanism like FLDG and all that? Is nothing emerged from any of these the parameters when you look at it? Any thoughts around that? Any one of you wanted to come on this?
Letter, Bala, I think it's a moral responsibility on the promoting institutions, because you have having started the FPC, the promoting institutions have the moral responsibility to see that these organizations conduct themselves well. There are no vested interests, and if there are some things happening on, we find it out in advance so that those things should not be. If it is beyond the control, then there is no issue. But have a moral right on these FPOs to have that interest only. Tomorrow, the promoting institution should not say that we are not aware of this, what was happening in the FPO, because you are promoting, you are regularly in touch with them. One of the persons of promoting institutions would be FPOs. Therefore, in order to have if you have the comfort letter with the lender, no, you people, the promoting organizations should also have the responsibility. I have given the comfort letter. I should be very inquisitive of what is happening in the FPO level. That sort of consciousness building is done through that.
See, Bala, your good question, and thanks, but sir also. The FLDG guarantees and all definitely applicable when you actually get into the lending and all those things, right? But the comfort letter really helps us on the decision-making process for the lender. That is what it helps us, right? The reason is the FPO or the resource institution has promoted, say, 10 FPOs. All these 10 are at a different maturity levels. And we as an institution would like to engage with. So, we are engaging for the first time. Also, we don't know the member farmers, right? It's like 500 to 1,000 members. We don't know them. But we are more comfortable on the resource institution, which has been working in this space. And we just tell them, a comfort from you really adds a lot of value on the decision-making process. That's it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I think we have also the Zoom booked up to 12:45. It will also go away. We have two more things pending. I think I request my colleague Shruti to share on. We also summarize what are emerged from so far in the discussion. Yeah, we're just putting across to summarize and then taking it forward. And we'll be in touch with all of you, and then how we can take this partnership forward, and then how we make agriculture work for our farmers and farmers producer organization. Yeah, over to you, Shruti. Shruti, you're in mute. If you're speaking, we're not able to hear you.
Audible now?
Yeah, audible. Yes.
Okay. So I'll quickly
No, please louder, please. Very.
the major, we've talked about the major opportunities, major products by the financial institutions. So when it comes to working capital loan facilities, we have it for input as well as collective marketing as overdraft facility as well as fixed installments. Some of the financial institutes are also keeping it very flexible based on the agriculture cycle. Then we also have term loan facilities for the agri infrastructure for FPOs. Then some of the FIs are also providing warehouse financing, and then Samanati also has digital cards for input credit. So these are some of the major products. Most of these products are mainly designed and categorized based on the maturity stage of the FPOs, so which is classified as nascent, mature, and then established. And then each financial institution has their own way of categorizing them into these three levels. Then talking about the due diligence parameters, mainly the financial institutions look into the governance and management, the leaders of the FPOs, the statutory compliances, bookkeeping procedures, the systems and procedures, financial position. When it comes to financial position, it is they look at net worth, 1 year audited balance sheet, debt to equity ratio, which varies from 5 to 20 times based on other parameters, past credit history for mature and established FPOs. So these are some of the things that we have summarized here. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, Shruti. And once again, I thank all the panelists here for your time. And now I request Anisa to have a vote of thanks.
Right. Thank you so much. On behalf of CAC and NAFPO, I would like to thank all the esteemed panelists to contribute to the discussion and bridging the knowledge and information gap. I would also like to thank all the attendees across different mediums to participate in the discussion. And lastly, to CAC team for working with NAFPO on hosting a webinar on such a important topic, the persistent challenge of access to finance that is faced by FPOs. We hope such discussions will bring about some traction to tackle these challenges in due time. So I would like to thank you everyone for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thanks for the wonderful session.
Thank you so
Bala.
much, everyone.
Yeah,
thank you, sir. Thank you, Anisa, for your support.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.